Hey everybody. Okay, so before we start, let's go down some of the brushes that I'll be using. Okay, so you all know that one. That one's the basic hard round brush. Here's my special hard round brush, special soft brush, second special round brush, and my and the regular soft round brush. So these are the 5 brushes I use for basically everything. Any other brush are usually just textures that I use just for specific drawings. So let's get started. It's 4. So here's my line art that I had prepared. I'm sure some of you recognize it. So I'm not going to go over how I line art it and everything. I'll probably do another class for line art one day, but you've all seen my other anatomy classes, so you might get the gist of how this went. Now, usually I would just start blocking in colors now, but for the sake of time, I already have them blocked in. So as you can see, I also added a basic around 18% gray background just to see the colors better. It's supposed to be some cat bunny thing, but whatever. Mark, it was the first class. Remember, I covered like all the parts, how I draw the bodies for male and female and everything. Now, I know that some of you, especially if you've been looking into anime art, know that there's usually differences between multiply layer shading and just regular shading. I personally just do all the shading just on the same layer, and same with highlights. So that's what you're going to see here. Use my basic hard round brush to block in the colors that I'll be using for shading. The different skin, clothes, and all those are on a separate layer each. So when it comes to coloring anime, the biggest things you need to remember are hard shadows and gradient shadows. You notice that the first shadow that I picked, other than the basic skin shadow, is only a little bit darker or noticeable than the regular one. This easy, I'm switching everything to on mode, so I'll be painting only on what I've already painted. And I'm going to use my special hard round brush. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to gradient the color. I'm going to hit it with the water brush. I've updated most of my brushes, and I'm just going to share them all once class is over. This sort of gradient and dark shadows thing isn't exclusive to anime. It's something you see anywhere and every day. You notice that shadows are usually gradients, and then there's only a few hard shadows. Okay, can I show my settings? Can you guys see this? It's basically, I'm using the default hard brush in the smudge, and I'm just changing the settings around is all. It gives you that water kind of thing, that kind of water blending that is awesome. You see, now we've got a base colors and a little idea of where the shadows are going to go already. It's mostly instinct. I basically block in whatever direction starts looking nice. You can set up specific shadows, though, if you're looking to set up especially a scene with a background. So now that I got the gradient set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the basic shadows now. Because this is a big drawing, I'm just going to go with around 10 size for the brush. Right, so you guys are seeing I'm kind of just following where the gradients are and just hitting where the hard shadows would be. Hard shadows, by the way, are areas that are directly blocking light. So shadows created by, for example, putting your hand in front of the light bulb. A good trick to making things look good is that you want certain parts to have hard shadows and certain parts to have soft shadows. Red. Yeah, anime does. It just depends. This one, I'm not really using too many light sources. But if I had like a sun somewhere, I'd have to follow that. So it all depends. If you already have a background established, draw your background first. Yeah, you have to remember that anime is a subtrope of cartoons, and cartoons use a lot of illusions. Yeah, it usually depends. Sometimes, if I can get away with it, I'll just color the outlines to a different color, or sometimes to a dark red. And what will happen is that they'll blend in with the colors. But I do that kind of thing last, and I just do it only on the line art. You'll notice that I'm keeping the hardest shadows, like the most hard-edged ones, around places like the hair and the clothes. That way it gives you the idea that it's skin and then it has things, shadows that are casting on it. I usually make them basically by instinct. You want to make a noticeable change. Like I said earlier, anime is a subtrope of cartoons, so you want to have your colors be able to be noticeable even from a bit of a distance. Well, these are all the colors I'm using, and the only one I'm using right now is the third one. So, does that give you kind of an idea how far the colors were? Oh no, black adds way too much unless you're starting from a very light airbrush. I'd say like the most black I would use is something like this. If you really want to go full black, especially if you're using line art, you want your line art to pop out. So you see, I just kind of use the brushes and then use the smudge if I wanted to blend in a little more if the change is too much of a contrast. The good thing about this special brush that I use is that it responds very well to speed. It's just my special hard round brush. I'm going to upload a new version after the class is done, so it should be in the newest brushes. Yeah, I'm just using the regular stylus, the one BP sent me. It's really nice. Yeah, so far all the coloring has just been done on one layer. Yep, and I'm going to show you some special effect that I do after I'm done with these shadows. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the soft round brush, the softest I have. I'm just going to spray over to tone some areas. I haven't figured out if you can. All I do is just set it by date. I'll be entering it for the Halloween combo. Of course, a witch always has weird colors. I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys if you want to make a combo out of this. You know what? I'm just gonna let you guys have this sketch, the line art for the witch, and the line art for the succubus that I'm doing, and you can pick which one you want. The outline, I use this. I'll send the inking pen X to BP so he can share it to you guys. Also use the pencil pen that's on my profile. So you notice that I've been mixing up. I've been using the basic hard round special for everything, but I've also been using like the spray one just to make like, well, sprays. So how's the skin looking? I think this is pretty much where I usually end and move on to the next. Now, after this, I usually go to the hair, but for speed's sake, I'm gonna go to the eyes first. So there's the basic green that I got for the eyes. There's the shadow of the green. The white of the eyes. The gray I'm gonna use for the white. So there we go. Back to on. So all I do is I'm just gonna follow the where the black shadow already is. Then use smudge. And select the lighter green. Just use the white to cut out the green that went over. Now just to give it that extra push. There we go. I just added white on its top layer over even the line art. And now we get to the hard part. Hair. Hair is usually one of the hardest parts to color only because it's all over the place. Hair doesn't have any specific spots that always occur or that usually occur like the skin does or that the eyes do. To make it easy, we'll just break it down. Here's what I'm going to do to give it some easy definition. Treat it just like the skin. Yeah, those dots are easy. They are always open and they're on a palette. And if they're on the same layer, just put them away from where you're coloring and they won't interfere once you turn it on. Sorry, I didn't see that question. The hair is on its own layer. Every base color that I have is on its own layer so far. So you see that I'm just kind of giving the hair its own space to work with. For hair that's like on the inside or obviously being overshadowed, just color it in and we'll add another shadow later. Once again, you see I'm using the brush and the blend at the same time. So you just kind of want to go with the flow with hair. Just kind of, you see that it's flowing, so you just follow the line of its direction. Yeah, I do. That's basically how I do it. I already see where the light's hitting, and I just try my best to fill it in. Mostly a thing of experience and instinct, just, watching how the light falls on places. Yeah, the hat adds a lot of easy shading. And you notice I'm working kind of messily, but that's what the smudge is for. You can use it at a small size to adjust places. Okay, so now I'm just going to use a darker, more bluer color just for the darkest hair shadows. As I had a darker skin shadow. So, how's the colors looking? So, just like the skin, I'm going to take my very soft airbrush and give it a nice tone at the end. And if you've been seeing my brush strokes, all I've been doing is just small size, 5 to 10 pixel special brush, and just been filling it in, and smudge tool. It's 18% gray, which is neutral skin color. And you can see what I did just to make the hair pop out a little more is I just added a red orange using the same low low opacity brush. Everything's been done at 100% opacity. Everything on the skin layer was done on one layer. I'm gonna pick a light purple. Right, so for blending this, for the person who just said they wanted to see it, I'm just gonna grab the edges. There's various reasons that highlights are shaped. Either you want to give it a style, you want to give it a sense of movement, or both. Well, I'm still, disclaimer, I'm still a student, so just with you guys, I'm constantly improving and I'm practicing every day. So, which is what I advise everyone to do. Line line work and line art is usually what takes me the longest. If you look at my drawings and see that they're like 4 or 5 hours, I'd say like 4 out of 5 hours is doing the pencil drawing and line work. My color spectrums in these little dots, yeah, those are all the colors I've been using. Now all I did, I took a little bit of that same purple, light white purple, and just passed it over the highlights. And after that, I just passed them over, and now it looks a little brighter. Now, we basically did, these are the big three that I always say when you start coloring the skin, hair, and eyes. I always say to do these three because if you don't like how these three are coming out, you're usually not going to like the rest of your drawing. Now, to make this speedy, I'm going to pick the white parts of the clothes, which means we're starting with clothes. Ooh, clothes. So, just like how I've been doing everything, base color, shadow, darker shadow, and that's it. So, light shadow just for making a gradient, then a regular shadow, and then a dark shadow. Now, ready? Let's do the color. Yeah, that's true. Um, but one thing I've realized is that the skin shading and all of these shadings are usually more about being afraid of actually trying to do it. Usually, you'll scrap it before you even get to a stage where you'll know if it's coming out bad or not. Yeah, skin has that problem. Usually, you can get away with a lot with skin and maybe hair. Eyes are a little more specific, but you can get away with those too. Really, the only ones you have to worry about if the colors have to be close to each other is clothes. If you have a gradient on clothes, like tie-dye shirts or something, the colors tend to be very similar, especially in anime. The inside of the hair, well, I got it a little darker. I mean, I can probably, and probably, I'm going to go back and darken it a little bit. That text, Zalgo, he comes. The worst part is I always miss the 11 o'clock news. Well, it usually takes me around 5 to 6 hours. This class will end at 6 in around 30 minutes. Right, so now what I'm just going to do is I'm going to add some darker parts to the clothes. It just if you don't have the on button when you're smudging, it'll incorporate the white background into your smudge if you go in. So you definitely want to have on if you're smudging colors. Sucks that PK's got bad Wi-Fi this time. Wi-Fi sucks too, but it's holding up today. So are we all gonna do a Kickstarter to get PK some decent Wi-Fi? And now, like, it's basically done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pass by again with the soft brush and give it a tone. Now let's do the corset and the hat. See you later, El. Hopefully you can watch the rest on YouTube. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a little bit on top of the cat. Sorry, cat. Yeah, you get these kind of sizes when you live in Las Vegas, I think. Yeah, probably. Let's just go with illusion. Well, that's cool. You gotta show me some pictures of them. Oh, I've never heard them called that way before, but okay. That sucks. Oh well. Oh yeah, that line. I know there's not an anatomy class, but I actually usually do that kind of line on the sketch so it gives you an idea of 3D. This time the line was good for making the corset's line outline, but that line's usually there anyway. I actually haven't even decided. So, what were the rules that you guys wanted to go on again? This line art and my succubus line art, and you guys just do color one? So I'm gonna put both of the line arts, and you guys can choose one. And let's do that darker color now. They just patched a special here about Candy Crush being too addictive. Personally, I'm not touching that. I have an addictive personality already. And once again, to finish, let's do that toning again. And somebody said earlier that if you wanted to use a light color. Yeah, why not use one to brighten it up a little? Yeah, just a little bit brightened up. Now let's do the hat. The hat might be the last thing we do. We might get to do the cuffs, but we got about 14 minutes left, so I want to end at around 5 minutes to 6 so we can get some questions in. Though this is being recorded, but I'll also record the rest of this myself so you guys can see all the way to finish. Okay, woo. This hat is huge, so we're going to use a lot larger brush sizes than we've been using. And after putting in the light shadow, once again, blending time. Also, if you're not using this, I'd highly recommend you to keep that bar open, the one on the bottom that lets you adjust size and opacity. Keep it open at all times because you're going to need it. Whoa, Mark, why not? Huh? Mark's doing a class? Sign up! Yeah, like I said, well, that mostly comes from experience. It also helps if you read my article in the magazine. It's mostly about taking out your own clothes and staring at them. If you haven't read it yet, I'll just say this again. Go to your closet, take out all the different kinds of clothes by textures, and just look at them. Get a flashlight and look at them under different lights and stuff. What, you don't fold by flashlight? Okay, so you know what? The hat isn't quite done, but I'm gonna stop it here and open it up for some questions. So go ahead. All questions open. About 5 minutes. So if you guys want to see anything in specific or stuff, but you don't think the cat is the husband. I've considered changing the color of the hat, but at the same time, I thought that it would do better if it's not the exact color of the corset. Usually, I think a lot about the colors, but I start only with the base colors, so I pick the base colors, and after that, the shadows are just by instinct. I'll color in everything. There'll also be a background and stuff. Okay, the 18% gray is just on a bottom layer, so it's just so I can see all the colors perfectly. It looks without the 18%. Well, if I'm in a place with internet when I'm doing the background, yeah, I'll do that too. I travel a lot, so big reason why I got an iPad. Of course, the colors aren't final yet. There's going to be under highlights, color values and so forth, and these are all going to be in the end too. You know what? I'm usually on at my time. I'm usually on from 1 to 3 a.m. is my most reliable times during the week. So I don't know what time you are, but think 1 to 3 Pacific, and that's usually when I'm on, and I'll try to do a stream when I'm on. I don't know if I'm speedy. I thought I was kind of slow, but I just kind of take my time with it. I tried to speed up a little just so I can include a lot of stuff for the class. For the line art, I used the inking pen that I made specifically, Inking Pen X, which is what I'm going to give to BP so he can post a link to it. My time right now is 5:59 Pacific time zone. Yeah. Also, I have the pen that I'm going to share with BP, but on my profile you can also get my pencil pen, which I use for penciling. Yeah, so whatever time you are, just convert it to Pacific, and then I'm usually on at 1 to 3 a.m. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start the compo probably now, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the line art. This coloring compo, I'm going to give you the line art, and you guys can color it in. No, you don't have to color exactly like how I colored. You can color however you want. So here, I'm going to do it right now so you guys can see it. Alright, so I uploaded it. It's my newest upload. I did it with transparency on. And you know what? Give me a second. Let me do the succubus one too. This will be the second line art for the compo, okay? So anyway, thanks all of you for coming, and I hope you learned something. I know I did. I mean, it was fun. So go forth and draw stuff.